but I remember also thinking that was maybe, at least to my way of looking at things, a little sweeter than I wanted it to be. But this is, it feels like you sort of reined it in a little on the sweetness and balanced it maybe a little bit more with the acids.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all. I mean, you've been doing it for 40 years. It's got to be a process, and you've been making the same mead for 40 years. So, how many batches did you say this is?
910.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
wow.
910. They've gotten bigger. I mean, that's the thing, though. That you can't say it's 910 times what the initial batch was, because we used to make it. I remember vividly. We had these 800-gallon tanks, so that was the size, 800 gallons. So now we're making it. 24,000 gallons at a time, and we're getting full. Yeah, we're getting full tanker of honey in. Right, we're getting 44,000 pounds of orange blossom honey in at once, which is pretty darn cool. I love just climbing up the side of a tanker and cutting the seal off and opening the lid on the top of a tanker full of honey.
Oh my
God!
God!
Just breathing it in. You know, they ship it hot.
An orange blossom.
AJ's got an orange blossom thing. She can't get it up there, so she's like loves her orange blossom.
Yeah, but you know, they ship at 180 degrees, and the reason is they can only, that makes it pumpable, right?
Yeah.
You can't get it off the truck if it's room temperature.
Yeah, well, can you imagine?
A honey tanker in Ontario in the winter, you're screwed, bud.
A tanker truckload of crystallized honey that's just boggles the mind.
Oh yeah, it'd be almost like the concrete truck that breaks down. You know, that's up in there. So you just throw the whole tanker away. But
actually, I think you could probably reheat the whole thing, but like it'd take a while.
Yeah, it would.
In the warm room for a good long time.
Yeah.
You know, I never really thought about it, but yeah, I guess it would have to travel hot, wouldn't it? I just never really considered that.
Yeah, I remember the first time we ever got a tanker load, and we were just like, now, how are we supposed to get this off? Where are you going to pump it at? How are we going to pump it? That seems to be the product that, when it shows up at the winery, that employees most want to. You mind if I fill this little container and take this home to my family? And, so.
Here, I just got this 5-gallon pail. Can I just, grab a little bit of that?
Yeah, right.
You know, AJ, they're not that far from you. They're in Indiana.
Come on by.
Yeah.
I know. And then
a tanker unloading day.
There you go.
Oh God.
You just show up with your bucket, AJ, and you know, if you volunteer to like wash bottles or something, they'd probably hook you up.
I bet we're getting it for a pretty darn good price at that quantity too. I don't know what.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Where are you? Is it Florida orange blossom or California orange blossom?
Yeah, it is Florida.
Florida?
It's Florida.
Okay.
It's Florida. Yeah. It's a Michigan operator that I tell you, it's been really interesting talking to those guys. Is that?
Is it St. Ambrose?
Recently, it's Grebe, but they told me that they make more money with pollination services than they do selling honey.
That's actually pretty common, according to some of the beekeepers we talked to.
Yeah, we had a master beekeeper on last week, and he said he makes more breeding than he did with pollination. And then I don't know if you know Kirk Jones at St. Ambrose up in Beulah, Michigan.
I don't know him.
He's got like 8,000 hives, and he does a lot with the orange. He's actually got a permanent location down in Florida for the orange crop, for pollination services that he does down there.
Sure.
And they get, of course, a lot of orange blossom honey as a result. I don't know if they're selling tanker truckloads, but that's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the kind of the yield on one hive would be, but
yeah, I don't know.
I'm curious to know that.
But it's I love the orange blossom is such a distinctive honey. I think of all of the varietals, it's probably got maybe except for meadow foam, the most recognizable instant, recognition.
Right. You know, I get inquiries from people with hives in their backyard about making mead, and hey, I want to make mead. All this honey, I don't know what to do. I want to make mead. And I just kind of caution people that the honey from the backyard hive is maybe not the best way to go.
Well, it depends on the backyard
so variable.
hive. Yeah, I mean, we've got a number of mead makers that hang out, you know, on and around the show. Bobby Slants is one. He's a New Yorker. And I wouldn't precisely say he's a backyard hive because he's got a number of hives, and you know, and he's been doing beekeeping for a while. But I think if you manage your bees, you can get some pretty nice honey out of there.
Sure. Because what's nearby, I suppose. I mean,
yeah.
What they're they're opportunistic little critters. They're going to go to the closest source. Yeah, and that just depends where we are.
Well, it's interesting because there's a lot of urban beekeeping going on now on rooftops. In fact, I think Bobby's got some on a rooftop. And Bobby, correct me if I'm wrong on that. He's actually listening in right now. But and there's a guy in France who is like beekeeping in, I think it's downtown Paris, and making mead in a cave. You know? Or no, it's not in a cave. He's making mead in the underground graveyards, and I'm losing the words here.
Like the catacombs.
The catacombs. Thank you. The word just like went poof out of my head. Yeah. But yeah, he's actually making. Making and storing mead in the catacombs, and like that. I'm not sure if that's really cool or really gross. I can't decide.
No, that's
definitely really cool.
That's really cool. No, that is a trip you got to make.
Oh yeah, I want to see it. My husband took the catacombs tour when he was in Paris last, and he said it was pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, it is great. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was threatened. We have any more skulls in our winery's decor, but you can't get anybody to go along there with me.
I think Bob's saying he used to rooftop beekeep. I don't know. I guess he's not doing it right now, but yeah, it's interesting. We're trying to encourage as many people as possible to keep bees because, of course, the more bees, the better off everybody is. You know, and given the general decline in bees, it's a good thing more bees is good. But yeah, I agree with you that not depending on where they're at and how they're managed, the honey may not always be the best, depending on what they have access
and it's just
to.
It won't give you a consistent result, and maybe a consistent result is not what you're looking for.
Well, we're home mead makers, so for us, variety is the spice of life. We're not trying to create the same mead over and over again always. Yeah.
I admit I come from the opposite end of the spectrum on that. Reproducible.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you're a professional, you got to be able to do that. If you can't, then especially if it's in your case, your only mead. As far as I know, you aren't. Are you doing any other meads, or is it just Camelot right now?
Yeah, we actually have some fruit flavored.
Oh, you do?
Honey wines. We refer. Yeah, we do. Under kind of you're looking on our website, been an orchard stand, but yeah, and those are really just, and they're big fruit volume in those things. I mean, when you say strawberry, it's like, whoa, it's big time strawberry. The honey is
you should have sent me some of that, Bill.
So.
Shoot.
There's still time. We can do that. But yeah, I mean, I just kind of, we're always just sort of poking the honey wine business, the mead business. Like, how can we sell more of this stuff? Because it's
not hard.
It's kind of straightforward for us. And in terms of sort of sourcing, I don't have to wait until September and October when all my grapes came in. I can make mead in March and August and anywhere I choose to. I can get a tanker load of honey next week with a phone call.
That's the cool thing about mead. You're not tied to the crush,
Yep, absolutely. In terms of making more, just a better, more efficient utilization of your place, of your equipment. It's all sitting there empty in June. Put something in there, make something.
Yeah,
so, mead's a good option.
So what?
Now, there was quite a bit of chatter before about oaking. Do you oak this, or have you ever tried oaking it?
No. No. I've not done that, and it's a really intriguing idea. And I think if I was kind of really committed to mead and making really a business side, I think oaking would be a really smart thing to do for sure. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea, and not just from the extractive components of the oak, but just from the oxidation port too. I mean, that's kind of the important part of kind of barrel storage is the oxidation plus the extractive component. But I think oaking mead would work really well. So probably the thing that our mead that I don't know if you can pick it up in there, but the hops that are in there.
Mm-hmm.
So the aroma hops that are in that, I don't know if they're sort of buried in there deeply in that orange blossom or not, if you can pick them out or not, but they're in there.
Is that what that was?
Per as a percentage, I think the federal limit is 1 pound per 1,000 gallons. I think.
It's not very much.
Yeah, but so I mean, that still could be 20 pounds of just leaf hops that are going in the top in a big fermenter, and I just love hops. I mean, I just open up the bag and just inhale and then just dump them in.
Why is
Do you have a preferred hops?
Yeah, I got my hands full making wine. I love good beer. I love craft beer. One of my best buddies runs a nice sized craft brewery here in Bloomington, but I'll let him do that. He can stick to beer, and I'll stick to wine.
There you go. Well,
share it over.
Do you have a favorite particular hops?
Oh yeah.
We're using Cascade.
Okay.
I can't say I'm like super hops knowledgeable. I really can't. I'm sure there's probably some others out there that maybe are a little more kind of brighter than that, but that's where we've been for the longest time, and it works pretty well for us.
I really like Citra in meads. It adds such a bright flavor. I've seen several meads with Citra hops, yeah, and it's just, especially, I mean, with the orange blossom, Citra's got that kind of acidic, but it's also it's a citrusy sort of note. I would think it would complement it, and you'd be able to kind of be real subtle with it, Yeah,
no, that's a great idea. I just scribbled that down. I mean, yeah, I've heard of that. I'm going to check it out. I'm definitely going to check that out.
Yeah, I was just looking at your...
The formula that never changes is about to change.
It's about to change again. Yeah, I just reformulated. So you're going to send me a bottle of that, right?
Yeah.
But I was just looking at the orchard stand line. Are those your fruit meads?
Yep, that's it.
Yep. Okay, so you've got a black cherry, a mango, a peach, and a strawberry. I'm intrigued.
Right. Yeah. It's actually all that together probably is about 3 times the volume of Camelot. So
really?
It's a little business because that partly explains the tanker load volumes that we're bringing in, right? Because they all add up to about 40,000 cases a year.
Uh-huh.
So that would be somewhere up in the 95,000 gallons, something like that.
So are all of the orchard stands are all based on orange blossom as well?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. These look interesting. Now I'm going to have to hit your purchase page and give these a shot. I love a good
it's all
mellow
coming together here.
Well, and I love your price point. I mean, you're keeping them really accessible, which is for the people that think that $10 is too much to spend for a bottle of wine. Your meads are coming in at between $8.50 and $10 or $11 a bottle. That's great,
right?
And
yeah,
they're pretty straight up. And they're nice and clean.
Camelot Mead took a big price. Yeah. Camelot Mead took a big price increase actually with its new look.
Uh-huh.
But we're still, I think, way kind of well below, what a lot of the other craft meads are selling for. And we're putting along here not paying attention to what's going on in the mead world and continuing to sell Camelot Mead for $8, and all of a sudden I'm like in like some specialty beverage store that's got a lot of mead, and they're all like 20, and I'm going, what is wrong with us?
Yeah, you could be making a lot more money there, Bill. So
yeah, exactly.